Hey guys, before we get into this episode of Content Recreation, I do want to talk about one of my favorite companies, Grinding Coffee Company. So they are so great to have partnered with me over the last 2 years, both on Twitch as well as for this show. I've gotten to try many of their different roasts and blends over the years. I've tried their Donut Shop blend. I've tried their Gay Agenda blend. I've tried their Latin Origin. And the one that I always go back to is this one right here, the Mexican chocolate. So just something about it where those notes of the cinnamon, the notes of the chocolate, the vanilla notes, they just work for whatever form of coffee I feel like. I've had it in espresso, I've had it in drip coffee, I've had it in cold brew, and it gets me together. I feel like the flavors are great. I don't feel like I'm running out of energy after I have some of it. And the best part is that I can get you 10% off. So using code Jose at grindingcoffee.co, you could get yourself some fantastic coffee while still supporting a small, locally black-owned business out of Georgia. It also happens to be LGBTQIA plus owned. I mean, that is a win-win right there, and they have been dedicated to making sure that anyone who's a gamer, who's a creative, has a really good option for a great coffee. So thank you so much, Grinding, for partnering with me over the years. Again, code Jose will get you 10% off. Episode 6, guys. Content Recreation is back again, and this time it's just me. Hey everybody, Jose Gonzalez here. I'm so glad to be with you all on this wonderful Monday as you guys are seeing this or listening to it. It has been a whirlwind of a week here, and I just wanted to take a moment to really get a chance to look back on everything that we've done over the last 5 episodes. So think of this more as not so much a traditional episode in the sense of I'm going to be interviewing another creator and kind of getting their whole story, but really just kind of spitballing things, wanted to have a candid conversation with you guys, things that I've thought about over the last 5 episodes, and just kind of some things that I want to think about moving forward as well. And also for those of you on YouTube, if you see me looking over, not necessarily just to like my monitor here, but I am also testing out a new camera as well. So right now you're seeing my traditional like webcam setup. So for the last 2 years, I've been using a Panasonic Lumix GX85. It is a mirrorless camera. It's been a great camera to me over the last few years. Right now I have the Lumix 20mm lens on there at f1.7. So with this one, because it is micro four thirds, so basically that just means that out of a full frame camera, it is only about I want to say a half crop is what it is. So right now the lens says 20mm, but it's actually more like a 40mm if you're talking full frame. I've had really no issues using this camera whatsoever, and this is still going to be my main webcam. But I did recently upgrade my travel cam that I've been using. You've seen it in the last episode I did following up with Ella J. So I went from this guy beside me, the Panasonic. I'm just doing so great here. Candid conversation, right? So before I was using the Lumix LX10. So this is a point and shoot by Panasonic. I got it for a steal. I'm not gonna lie. I was hounding down different cameras for a while. I want to say in like late 2021. And then this one happened to show up in my Facebook Marketplace. Someone was selling it for half of what MSRP is. And for the last year or so, it served me well. I think the video quality on here is great. I'm just looking to make the next step into doing more stuff on the road, and whoever knows what could come up with that. So with that, the main things I was looking for were going to be a little bit more stabilized video, because I noticed handheld this can be a little rocky. I want to be able to have unlimited recording in every mode and not just 24 frames or 30 frames, which brings us to the camera that I'm going to switch to now. This is the Sony ZV-1. So this is a camera that I've had my eyes on for the last 2 years. It just kind of seemed out of reach. I did get it recently on sale. I thought I was going to get the ZV-1F that is just coming out, but I just feel like for my use case, the things that I would want more of are going to include the better autofocus and more of like the versatility of like really getting into honing every sort of manual thing on the camera, whereas the 1F is very, very good at being point and shoot and fully running it auto. I feel like that's going to be a great intro camera for anyone looking to get started on their video side of things. I just need a little bit more nuance, and that is where the ZV-1 comes in. Let me know how you guys like this video. So I'm going to be switching back and forth a couple times throughout the whole thing. The ad read that you might have seen at the beginning of the episode has been from the ZV-1. I am very excited to get to learn this camera a little bit more, but yeah, that's going to be something that I will talk about a little bit later. But let's get into the main reflection. So I'm actually really surprised at how well these episodes have turned out, not just because of like the fact that I haven't really gotten to do this kind of interviewing for quite some time, and even then it really wasn't the wrestling side so much as it was my academics career back at Buff State being a journalism major. So my main goal was to have all sorts of different kind of creators from all different walks of life, all different mediums. I'm very proud of the fact that we have had such a diverse group of guests over these first four. I mean, being able to have people that do a lot of reactionary content, whether it be primarily on YouTube or even with Patreon, to getting into the niche market of media, whether it be across writing and video in a very specialized section like pro wrestling, whether it be taking a step back into more of a business-oriented form of writing and really getting to see that side of things, and even from someone who was doing primarily content creation, transitioning into a corporate role that also involves content creation, but not being the personality, but working with other creators for the sake of really helping a great charitable cause. I feel like every episode stands on its own very well. And it's been nice to have so many different, also, I didn't even realize this intentionally. Every guest I've had has been a marvelous woman to talk to. And it feels like, in a way, I'm so used to kind of fighting for women just because a lot of my wrestling work was in the realm of women's wrestling. So it has been nice to even unintentionally give a platform to maybe the ladies that don't always get the same amount of love as male creators do, regardless of whatever the medium is, and really being able to highlight that there's so much greatness on that side of things. Obviously, there will be male guests, non-binary guests. Gender does not matter to me. I just want to be able to have a good conversation with anyone, but it is really interesting that I've had that trend so far. I'm looking forward to many other guests coming up in the coming weeks. But yeah, I've been very proud of the diversity I've had between different interviews, so that's something that I hope to continue moving forward. I've also been able to kind of figure out when things may not go to plan when I'm finishing an upload. So if you guys noticed the very first episode that I did with Kiyoshi Warrior, my audio was not giving what it should have. That was mainly just because the way that we recorded it before I did our interview with Haley, which is the only other virtual one that we've done so far for content creation. I thought I would be able to really just utilize Discord for the video call, which, I mean, the recording itself, video-wise, I think it came out fine. However, I was recording in OBS. So the only thing that I've noticed on my end was everything looked fine when I did like a test recording. However, it just level-wise, I was a lot more overpowering than Maya was, so didn't really get a chance to fix that in post like I thought I'd be able to, just because it was one track and it's really hard to just boost one thing over the other, but that's neither here nor there. Thankfully, I have started utilizing Riverside.fm for virtual interviews. So with Haley's interview, we did also do that one virtually, and I feel like it's a lot better in regards to the audio side of things, especially because when we were recording separate files, I noticed that her mic was a little bit hotter. There was a little bit more background noise, but Riverside, this is not an ad, by the way. They did have noise suppression, and they were able to kind of match audio levels on its own, which was phenomenal. And then I was able to export that and then do whatever I needed to do in DaVinci Resolve. That was probably the quickest turnaround time I've had from recording, editing, and uploading. And I honestly feel like Riverside FM is probably going to be my favorite way to do any sort of virtual interviews moving forward. So not an ad, but if you guys are thinking about that versus like maybe a Zoom subscription, I would probably look into Riverside, just depending on how much you're recording and how often you think you would need to do it. The plans are pretty competitive, and I think the quality speaks for itself. But that's just my take as far as the virtual side. And then obviously the first interview with Ella, you'll notice like different Zooms going in. So when we were recording that one, we had a take where I did not have the audio recording for like the first 20 minutes, so we had to restart it. I tried adding in my ring light that I had at the time, where that was threaded onto my tripod, and then the camera was threaded onto the ring light. And then kind of as time went on, the ring light mount was just slowly starting to tilt. So trying to save that as much as I could. I mean, in the end, it just ended up looking a little bit tighter, but kind of being prepared for the worst and circumventing it moving forward has been something that I've really wanted to make sure that I can get better at as time goes on. Obviously, I feel like the interviews with Bianca and then round 2 with Ella came out great, just because we didn't have a lot of those factors. I know for me, I had a separate ring light in my studio that I'm using with the Lumix right now that's mounted, so that wasn't going anywhere, and I just had a second tripod for the camera. And then we were able to actually pull off really good lighting in the hotel in Albany for the last episode, which I'm so glad that we were able to do. So, yeah, really trying to learn more about what I need to do to make the product look as good as possible. I'm trying different things with where to place ads, trying different ad read styles. I know this one has a video format. Normally they're just all audio. Trying to mix up what I'm saying. So, yes, right now it's the same 2 that we usually have, but not making it sound like a broken record after a couple weeks. So definitely going to try to get a little bit more creative with that. I probably will be posting that I will be open to any sort of paid ad reads for this show. Would probably be inexpensive, but I would definitely be able to share on Twitter if anyone's interested in me promoting their stuff. Obviously, I want it to be something where it can align with my brand as well. So be on the lookout for that. So, and then kind of going back into the diversity of every episode I've had so far, I definitely want to make every episode feel as unique as possible, but obviously with the niche of us talking about content creation, obviously there are going to be some questions that I kind of want to ask to everyone to get their different takes on things. I know for me, I don't want to have to like regurgitate every interview just with different answers. So something that I want to do is really make sure that I'm getting a chance to focus on their personalities and like their backstories as well. But obviously there's still going to be some things that I'll always still want to know, just like messages for their past selves compared to where they are now. I want to get into more about the content they also enjoy consuming and not just what they create, to kind of add a little bit more personality to it. I know I didn't get a chance to really ask as much in the last couple, but definitely can lead to some great tangents there. Really make the conversation flow more naturally, not be so formulaic and paint by numbers, but really trying to jazz up the show without having it lose its identity as well has been one of my main concerns. So looking forward to different things that I want to do in the future. And then obviously kind of piggybacking off of that is going to be, there are going to be a lot of guests that might have overlaps from what they're currently doing, but still trying to have it focus on the person and not just the industry itself. So obviously coming from a wrestling background, I have a lot of friends who are great creators, but I want to focus on like their styles, like the things that they've gotten to do, because some have different experiences doing different things in wrestling than others do. Some have a different interview style, some have different presentation, getting their perspectives just in different experiences, being a man or a woman, just different ways that they've had their careers go, lessons they've learned, things that they would avoid, just really trying to show that, hey, while someone might also be part of this industry, doesn't mean that their experience or what they do is identical to this person. So definitely something that I want to really make sure that I can give everyone a platform to do with every episode that I would do moving forward. We did hint at the quality improvements to the show. Obviously, my microphone is staying because I just got this back in June as the Electronics Dynacaster. I was tempted to maybe try the Blue Sona, but seeing a bunch of different reviews and everything, I just feel like this suits me better just because I do field interviewing, and with the Sona, it doesn't let you turn off the active mode. It doesn't let you connect it to an interface without phantom power. That's something that this mic does well, and it's really lent itself to the interviews I've gotten to do. So I'm not, one, killing a Zoom battery, and two, I really only have other dynamic mics right now, so it just makes more sense to try to streamline the process as much as possible and try to make sure that audio game is still going to be great, because, I mean, obviously this is still a podcast above all. I want to make sure that it's easy listening. So that's something I want to do, getting to incorporate the new camera more, whether it be maybe when I'm recording the show to keep it from using maybe my proper mirrorless camera that's stationed to my desktop, and like try to keep everything on this camera moving forward just for the sake of the show, and really I want to try different things with the quality of the show. Like you might see different frame rates. So like last week was 24 frames. This is back in 60. maybe try 4K footage for the first time, which I'm nervous about. I know my computer can handle it. It's just thinking about the file size. Oh, baby. But yeah, definitely wanting to really test myself with what I'm able to handle on the creative side of things. Because obviously, recording is the easiest part. It's really making sure, like, the editing, I want to make sure that things look unified from episode to episode and things just don't go out of whack, but really trying to test myself more on the video and production side of things, just because I feel like I've always been more of a presenter, and like the production side of stuff that I was doing really was just audio, which is very minimal editing, thankfully. But definitely trying to get better with video editing, working with DaVinci Resolve, which I'm grateful that the free version lets me do everything that I need to do very seamlessly. So definitely look out over the next few weeks and see like if things look better, if things look worse, things that you notice. And kind of on that topic, I'm thinking about changing the release format of the show. So just to avoid things going a lot of hecticness on my end, I was proud that we were able to do weekly for the first 4 episodes, but it feels like for the sustainability and for the sake of not having so much on my plate, I feel like bi-weekly might be the way to go moving forward. So there's still going to be content that I'm going to try to do on those off weeks, but I feel like at least that way it's going to be a little bit more accommodating for when I'm able to get guests on. It's going to be more accommodating for me being able to do other types of content again that I feel like I've been neglecting, i.e. Twitch, which is why for this episode going up on Monday, this weekend, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 releases. I'm going to be streaming because there's no way you're going to get me off of that game. And if I'm going to have fun playing COD, or if I'm going to be angry playing COD, I want to be able to share that with you guys. So expect some streams this weekend, which is going to be great. I definitely want to make sure that everything that I'm doing, I'm still feeling fulfilled with. Not to say that the show has not been fulfilling at all. I'm very proud of this show. It feels like I'm scratching an itch that I've had for such a long time to try to do other content aside from just maybe gaming or just maybe wrestling stuff. And it feels like this has been a very good challenge for me, and I hope it can lead to other things in the future, like showing that I'm not just a one-trick pony, because I feel like a lot of the time I was starting to doubt myself just because I felt like I was doing the same thing over and over again, and this has been a way to kind of break that mold. So yeah, expect maybe a good period, I would say maybe into probably January, honestly, where we're going to be bi-weekly for this show. Just so we could get through the holidays. We can make sure that we're able to keep getting more guests in. There will be some times where I do like these check-in episodes where I'm like doing my own thing just solo. I want to maybe get more Q&A stuff. So as the show grows, its audience, getting to have a lot more interaction with those audience members, listeners, viewers, wherever have you, maybe even doing a live episode. I don't know if it would be on the YouTube page or if it'd be on my Twitch, but those are just some things I would love to do with that. And then also trying to really get more into the short form side of things with the show. I'm starting to get into more of like what I want to do with Reels and with TikTok. So I have like a border that I'm going to try to do for the actual podcast clips itself. So what I would do is find a clip that I want to use for short form. It'll be after the episode is uploaded on my YouTube, and I feel like the easiest way that I've been able to do this, and if anyone's looking to find a way to do podcast clips on short form, but they don't want to do it from their computers, if you have an iPhone, you could download this app called InShot. So I think it's like a $15 or $20 annual subscription, but it is a fully functional video editor right on your phone. So it'll let you do picture-in-picture. So like if you have a template like I do where you can stack videos, you could even put the same video twice for the picture-in-picture, set different zooms, and then just mute one audio track. So at least that way, like you have like one person on top, one person on the bottom, instead of like trying to fit just a regular video into the 9:16 format instead of 16:9. So it works better for like vertical video. So definitely want to get more into that, trying to get better with having more diversified content across different platforms in the event that something were to happen and it just feels like I'm not getting enough out of what I need to do for the show just on YouTube or just in audio form. So really trying to have a presence wherever I'm able to. So, yeah, which is kind of leading us into the end of this. I did say this was going to be a shorter episode, really, just because I don't need to draw this out. It's just me and you guys. Like, if I could talk for an hour about anything, I would, but I don't think you guys want that for just one voice, and I don't think it's going to translate well if I were doing that. So, this is where I leave it open for you guys. I would love topics for if I'm going to do a solo episode that you would want me to sit down and talk about. If you have guests that you feel like would be great to have on the show, I would totally be open to that. I know I did have the original post from when I was mentioning the show, and I do have guests that I want to reach out to. It's just mainly trying to have as much diversity as possible. I don't just want to resort to just my wrestling friends, which I'm so grateful for them for, and I will be reaching out to them. But for the sake of the show, I don't want it to be just wrestling content. Like, that was the thing with Ella. Like, I even said, like, this last episode, the only reason why it was so wrestling heavy was because of the updates that she had for what she was doing, where we were at the time, trying to have it be a different conversation entirely from the main episode, since this was just a catch up anyways. And just, trying to say, like, hey, all content is valid. I would love to have different people. So even if it's more on, like, maybe someone that does a lot of social media content, whether it be someone that does exclusive content for whatever platform that may be, whether it's more adult content, whether it's general audiences, like more of like the audio side of things, really nothing is too off the table. I just want it to be a great conversation and something where I feel like anyone can get something out of it, and whether it's to apply it or they now just have more insight and maybe more respect for the content that's being created for whoever the guest would be. I feel like that's going to be paramount above all. So yes, definitely send guest ideas my way. I would love to reach out to people, seeing if you guys prefer the video format like I normally do on YouTube versus just the audio format, because I know we are available on Amazon, on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. So just kind of gauging the reach of the show, I feel like has been very good. It just wants to make sure that I know what content you guys prefer. And for those that do like video but don't always want to have YouTube going, Spotify will let me upload this whole episode in video format. So if you just want to keep the app going and say, like, you start the episode in video, but like you want to plug it into the car while you're commuting. I know not everyone has YouTube Premium, so they wouldn't have it playing in the background. But Spotify would at least let you toggle between the audio and the video. You could change that setting in your app. Or if you actually were sitting down just watching it on the phone and need to get up and go, you're not going to lose where you are in the show, and you'd still be able to just have it be on in the background as audio, which I think is very cool. Ella J is the one that taught me that, so thank you, Ella. But yeah, this is kind of a very short little catch-up episode for Content with Creation. Definitely let me know your guys' feedback of the show, different content ideas, things that you would be interested to see me do is outside of the show on the channel. I'm thinking about doing some tech stuff. I've had a review that I've been planning forever and just haven't gotten around to, wanting to do maybe vlogs here and there. So definitely trying to step up my own content game and really trying to bring you guys the best product possible. And hopefully, as the show progresses, that we could look back at this and see, okay, we had the first reflection of how things are going. Let's see how we are at this milestone, because who's to say that things aren't going to keep improving? But thank you guys for watching and listening to this. For those that are very curious on how to support me, obviously my link tree will have everything there. So, I mean, socials are all the Jose Can You See. Obviously, if you are able to use the Grinding Coffee code for your own lovely caffeine needs, code Jose will work there. For those that are looking for maybe different ways to stream the show, Amazon Music does have this podcast on there, as well as over 70 million songs. I mean, if chances are you're listening to something from like one of your favorite artists, you're going to find it on Amazon. You'll be able to seamlessly have that going from your TV to a smart speaker to a tablet, playing it in the car, and then my code Jose Can You See. So get amazonmusic.com/Jose Can You See. Usually at least a 30-day trial. I know recently it was up to 3 months. I'm not sure where it's going to be for the holiday season, but if you guys don't already have a subscription, by all means check that out. Get a free month. Why not? But yeah, I mean, otherwise, the Jose Can You See, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, twitch.tv/Jose Can You See. I hope that this show has a very healthy lifespan and can really bring a lot of attention to different things, as well as just making sure that it's something that everyone enjoys. Because the second that I feel like I'm not enjoying this, or if it feels more like a chore, I'm going to be very resistant to keep it going. But definitely want to make sure that this is something that's going to be around for a while and something to look forward to above all. So I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will catch you guys on Twitch this weekend, but probably next week for a new episode. So take care, everyone.